There you go. Hey, you guys, thank you so much for chiming in. You are watching Shirley's World. I just want to tell you it's time to be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. I know we all been watching all these shows where all these brothers talking about Africa, Africa, Africa. If I got to hear one more African show, I think I would become African, which I already am. Which is kind of funny. For those who don't know me, my name is Shirley Husar, Husar. I do live stream every other week or once a week. I'm not as active as some of the other ones out there on the platform, but I do a lot of community activists. I just came back from Washington, D.C., which was fabulous. I learned a lot. I have a lot to talk about regarding that. And I have a lot to talk about regarding this subject matter, which is, do Black people really want to be engaged with Africa? Do Africans really think about our best interests? And I'm going to talk about it from a woman's perspective because we have so many women out there whose voices aren't being heard. O'Shea always has these guys on, and it's, for some reason, these men think that Black American women want to march on to Africa and be gobbled up by Africa. And I think that we have to look at it from a perspective of how long we've been here and who do we relate to and what are we? What kind of Negro are you? That's my main question because once you identify the type of Negro you are, then you can determine what type of space you need to live and be in. Make sure you like and share this video because the more shares and more thumbs up that I get, the more that YouTube will show more love to this chocolate system. And for those who might be a little scared, yes, I am a Trump supporter. I was a surrogate for President Trump in 2016 and a delegate for the state of California. I was the first African American to make the announcement on the live stage at the Republican National Convention. I am pro Trump and I am also pro capitalist and I'm a pro conservative. So if you believe in making money, and you want to know how to make money and how to connect with people making money, this is your show right here. If you want to be more government imposed and programmed, I don't know if that's the show for you. I may not be the chick for you. But if you want to give me a shot, hear me out, hear my heart, I appreciate you taking your Sunday. I know y'all could be doing a lot right now, and I know tomorrow's a big barbecue at somebody's house. Hey, somebody send me a shout out. ShirleyHusar@gmail.com. If you're in LA, you got a barbecue, let me know. Otherwise, my family is going to be cooking a little bit of stuff out there. So let me say some shout outs real quick. Stump Down. Stump Down is asking me a question about Maxine Waters, Al Sharpton, Eric Dicing performing at, oh my goodness, at Aretha Franklin's, 6-5 hour funeral. We might talk a little bit about that. America, that's my name. Don't wear it out. All right, America, I won't wear it out. I agree with you, Shirley. Only thing we should be doing is right now is offering the South African farmers, the whole situation in South. I'm gonna talk about the South African farmers. I'll talk about farmers, America first. Because I believe in America first. So anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna call a couple of people and put them online, and I'm gonna ask them to give their opinion. And I'm gonna start with Kimberly Mack. Kimberly Mack is she is the executive directors for Urban Game Changers in Pennsylvania. So many of you guys want to know what's going on in Pennsylvania. You want to connect with her. She is running for office in Pennsylvania, and she's a phenomenal person. She's got family in town, but she said she would pop in for about a few minutes. I want to hear her perspective about Africa and do they really want to work with us? And should we be concerned about Africa? Because I'm tired of everyone talking about it. I want to hear a strong, powerful woman like Kimberly, who that don't mess around. Kimberly, I got you live on the air right now. Say hi to the family.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Good, good, good. Kim, I was talking to the family right now. The Black conscious community is on a move to a lot of brothers like Dinah search for Yuri. Shout out to him. Shout out to O'Shea. I love O'Shea. He's been on this move about talking about African Black men, Black pride. Where do we go as Black men? He's been talking about it from a Brazilian perspective to a Black American. And of course, my amazing Phil. I love Phil. He's phenomenal on the Advice Show. He just came back from Africa and he's like ready to pack his bags and move over there. But I really want to hear your perspective as a Black woman about Africa. And do you think Africans like us here in America? What is all the big talk about Africa right now?
I really don't think Africans respect us as Black Americans. I've never run into an African that has respected me. The African men tend to respect us more, but I believe that's because they're looking for citizenship. But as a whole, I believe they look down their noses at us. They think that we are beneath them. And for the most part, they don't even want us to call ourselves African American. They don't want us to even claim anything to do with the motherland. They just want us to be Black Americans. And that's just how I feel. I've never had a positive reaction, and that's really kind of sad when I think about it. That I've never had one that was, overwhelmingly positive, where I wasn't suspicious that something else was, it was for some ulterior motive.
That is so true. Kim, do me a favor. Tell a little bit about yourself. Someone on the chat room, America, that's my name. Don't wear it out. That's the name of they have on YouTube. They're asking me, what city do you live in Pennsylvania, and what position are you running for?
I personally live in McKeesport. I'm running for Congress. I'm for the 18th Congressional District, which covers the city of Pittsburgh and 53 municipalities that are kind of towards the eastern part of the county. And that's what I'm running for. I'm running against incumbent Mike Doyle. He's been here for 24 years doing nothing. So I'm trying to take our voice and our vote back for Mike Doyle, from Mike Doyle.
Excellent, excellent. And how's urban game changers in Pennsylvania coming along?
It's coming along. I have a mission. I don't really want to make it public yet, but we are definitely going to hold all of the elected officials accountable here. Regardless of party, if you're not doing your job, we're going to try to get you out. And I personally want to raise up some young people, start training them now to be in positions to run for these offices on the state level, county level, even down to school board, because we are not represented as Black people. So we have to start now raising up a generation to take it over, because I'm not going to be here forever.
No, we're not going to be here forever, for sure. For sure. Hey, you guys, we got 33 people watching right now. Please get those thumbs up. The more thumbs up, the more movement we get on YouTube, and it really helps support our base. So Kim, let's go back to Black Africans. I've had different scenarios with Black Africans as far as close friends who are like a sister to me. One unfortunately passed away from cancer, but she married a Black African, had a child by an African, had 3 children by an African American man, and then he was her second husband. Once he got citizenship and she got sick, he was up and gone. And matter of fact, he even took the youngest child away, and they didn't even get to have a relationship with the older siblings. That was one story. The other story is a beautiful friend of mine back east who married an African. She met in France. He came here, didn't know any English. She helped him get his citizenship, helped him learn how to speak English. He ended up having an affair with another woman. I don't know if that woman was African, but it was with another woman. Got her pregnant and still stayed married to my friend. And then finally, she couldn't take it anymore. She helped him finish his citizenship and helped him get acclimated into America, but she was done. These stories are not uncommon. They're pretty common with Black women dealing with Africans. Anybody there in the chat room, talk to me if you know about that. Stump Down says, I want nothing to do with Africans. That's what Stump Down says. Some other people out there, they love Africans. I mean, Kim, what's your take on it?
Like I said, I haven't had good experiences with them. Even in the healthcare, a lot of them come over here and they work in the healthcare, in healthcare. Some are nurses, some are aides, some are, all different, positions.
Kim, hold your thought. I want to put Chanel on. Hold on, she just called me in. Chanel.
Yeah.
I'm live on the air right now. Can I talk to you on a subject matter real quick? Are you okay about being live?
No, because I'm not made up.
No, you don't need to be made up. They're just hearing your voice. They hear you right now. Can you talk? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to merge you in. We're talking about Africa. I've got Kim on the line with us, and Kim is Urban Game Changers executive. So hold on, Kim, hold on. So I'm going to merge these two ladies together. Chanel is activist in the urban communities. You guys may not know Chanel, but Chanel Temple is huge. She has millions of people who have followed her and seen her online. She goes and she talks in the community. She's my good friend. She lives in California. And then we have Kim, who is Kim Mack is running for office in Pennsylvania. We were talking about Chanel, uh, African. Do Africans really care about Black Americans? Many African Americans online in the conscious community are telling us, "Hey, we all need to go to Africa. We need to work with them. They've got an infrastructure. They've got land ready for us to buy. We need to go and help them." And Kim, go ahead. What were you saying? And then I'd like to hear Chanel's perspective. Go ahead, Kim. Uh oh, do we lose her, Kim? Oh, we lost her. Chanel.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me
The
get.
question. Okay.
The question is about Africa. Hold on a second. Let me get um Kim on the line.
Okay.
She's driving right now. But the question is about basically Africans coming over here. Well, no, we got a lot of brothers out there talking about how we need to start working with these Africans and having a better perspective of what they can do for
Yes.
us. And I'm not really sure about all that. So hold on. This is Kim here. Okay, I'm calling Kim back. Make sure you guys put those thumbs up. Thank you for following. We're gonna give a woman's perspective.
Hello.
Kim, stay on, stay on. We're gonna give a woman's perspective of where are Africans in conjunction with African American men, as well as do they really care about us here in America? And so Chanel and I are in California. We deal with a lot of different countries that come here and try to reestablish the African American community. And I know Chanel will share about that. But real quick, Kim, are you there?
I'm here.
Kim, share what were you about to say? Go ahead.
I was gonna say that I just find even the ones in the healthcare they tend to take either an overnight shift or a late afternoon shift because they don't want to work. You know, they want the money, they want the job, they want the title, but they don't really want to work. It's like they come here and they just want to take it easy to get the money. And so when I see an African nurse, I'm a little leery about what kind of treatment I'm gonna get or my family members gonna get. And I mean that's just the way it is. It may not be everybody, but it's been my experience.
Interesting. Chanel, what do you think? Do you concur with that?
Well, I have had some experiences, and we're on two different continents, and they have been told different things about African Americans. They think the same thing about us, that we're lazy and we want to work. We don't want to work. And then they come here. My experience has been a lot of them come here and they work or they workaholics because the opportunities are better for them when they come here talking with an accent. That's been my experience. They get the better jobs. A lot of them are well educated if they do come over here or they get educated here. But I think they carry an attitude about African Americans because we have that stigma, about the chattel slaves that we were born into slavery or whatever our ancestors were, whereas they feel that they were not. But if you look at the truth, there's slavery over there right now today in Africa.
Mm.
So what I'm saying, they come over here a lot of times with a attitude towards blacks, and they kind of feel like they're a little bit better than African Americans. But they always, when they want something, they always want us to reach out and join them. Or come to Africa and join us, apartheid and our apartheid fight and stuff. But then they don't want to work with us. That's what I feel.
No, I partly agree with you on that too. I think a lot of them come here for citizenship.
Yeah.
I know many of them come here and they look for black women. There's a certain type. They look for low self-esteem black women. They look for women who want to get sex down real good, dick them down real good. They look for vulnerable women that they know that they can get their citizenship through, and that will probably put up with the shit more than some average African American women that are out there. And I see a lot of that. I just want to say thank you guys so much for chiming in. Stump Down. I want to thank you, Yo Yo. Thank you so much, Amos. Thank you so much for chiming in there. I appreciate that as well. You guys mean so much, and I appreciate everything that you do and come and support me. Make sure that you get your thumbs up and let's continue to share this video because it's important. Ladies, let me ask you this. President Trump recently just met with the president of Kenya. He met with the president of Kenya, and he basically said that he wants to do more trade with Kenya. Kenya seems to be the most stable African, is it a nation or continent, than all the other nations. And even Dinus talked about how important Kenya was. Also, I know Kenya was not happy with President Obama, who is part Kenyan because of his father. So they didn't want to. President Obama was over there trying to push homosexuality, as you guys know that out there. If you don't, that was a big issue, and they told him that he was not welcome to his father's homeland. What's your guys' perspective of that with the trade that Trump's talking about there? But yeah, we have all these black people in Chicago dying, people going in Detroit, homeless black people downtown LA. What are we not doing right to get that clear message to Mr. Trump to focus on black Americans a little more?
Well, I think, and fortunately, I have had the opportunity to meet Trump.
Okay.
And on the campaign trail, he was saying what he was going to do for the black community, the urban black agenda contract. I really haven't seen any of it. He announced that the unemployment for blacks was down, but my experience with that, they're hiring a lot of black youth, but they're not getting full-time jobs. They're getting like 2 days to work. They're lucky if they get 3 days a week to work.
Okay.
So I don't understand why the media put out there how the numbers are down for the black community, because I don't see that in my black community, California. I still see a lot of blacks off of jobs because they open the border and it's full of illegals. They still running the jobs. They still have 80% of the jobs, and then there's other foreigners that have the other 10%. Blacks still don't have jobs. But getting back to Kenya, I just read an article last week where 500,000 women were given a vaccine that made them sterile in Kenya.
Wow.
So what's this about? All of a sudden, he wants to go over there and, trade with Kenya. Look it up, 500,000 in Kenya.
Interesting.
I was floored when I saw that.
Interesting.
So Kenya is kind of angry. At that, because they come to them with this vaccine. It's going to help do it, but they don't tell them the side effects and stuff. Making the women sterile over there, 500,000. Yes.
Well, Kenya is the one that caught the sterilization in the HPV vaccine. So I don't know which this other vaccine is, because Kenya had caught that and banned the World Health Organization from bringing the vaccines in. So I don't know how they caught it or what they snuck it in. But I mean, you can't blame the president for that, because that's the pharmaceutical, and that's the
I'm not blaming the president about that. I'm just saying I'm surprised that he's talking about Kenya and he wants to trade with Kenya. Let me say this. First of all, I agree with Shirley. You need to take care of home first. He's helping all these foreign countries. There's blacks out there, LA County, blacks out there, 90% of the blacks. I've been downtown. I've been downtown working with the homeless. Candace Camper, she works with the homeless too. She's almost stationed down there. Most of the homeless are black. He needs to start here. He dare not come to California. The black community in California has been hit the hardest. Then there's Chicago. Then there's Detroit. Then, there's Philadelphia. Clean up your house first before you reach out to all these other foreign countries. You have people in is it South Africa now? They're crying because they're losing their farmland. So now all of a sudden we're supposed to take them in. Okay, so what about the black community? And he made that contract. What happened to that contract?
No, and I think that's one of the questions I asked when I was in Washington, D.C. Many of you know I was in Washington last week and I sat down with policymakers, but the people who introduced me to this opportunity were faith-based initiative people. And so I'm trying to set up a meeting that these ladies and myself and Urban Game Changers executives can address questions where Trump said in 2016, the New Deal for Black America. What happened with that? You're talking about the South African farmers. Somebody mentioned that in the chat room. I would tell you this one. No one's talking about the bad seeds that were sold to the 3,500 farmers here in America. Black farmers were sold bad seeds. Look, we only got so much time in a day. We only have so much time in a day, but if we take our energy and we focus in on this country and this issue and that issue, and we don't even take care of our own, we are not our brother's keeper. And I mean our brothers, meaning our own melon type keeper. We are failing ourselves because we are getting distracted by things that we cannot control. We can't control what goes on in Africa and the Commonwealth. We can't control what happens with the citizenship and the visas and basically they were called foreigners. Now they want to try to come here and ride off the indigenous slave children. They only come here for education and take advantage of the visas and the education, and then they go back and talk about us. I'm still trying to understand what is the benefit for us to really, really take our energy and go there when there's so much things that we need to be doing here. Kim, what's your perspective of that?
I agree. You do have to take care of home first. You do. I mean, you can't. And I'm upset. I mean, I guess for me, so many homeless people. In California, New York. I mean, really, here there's homeless people all across this country. And until everybody that needs a home has one, until everybody that wants a job has a job, I'm not for all of this immigration. I'm really not.
I know I totally agree with you. I think that we've maxed out what we can do. There's only so much reserve that you have. It's like if you have a bottle of water and when you realize that you only have this much water, but you still have five more water bottles that are empty that want your water, something's going to go dry. You have people fighting. You're going to have racist tension. And the people that do get the water, they're going to put more water towards their people's side versus the people who have rights in this country. There's some people in the chat room asking you guys questions. BM as Black people are full of hate in America. This is what they're saying. You have full of European, you have full, it says you have full of Europeans that African immigrants, but you worry about less than 5 million Africans versus 50 million African Americans. That's hateful. So they're saying that there's 5 million Africans that we should be concerned about, and instead of 50 million here in African America. What's your take on that, you guys?
Okay, the word hate. I think it's hateful. When I work out there 40 years, and when I put in for my benefits, I'm denied, and I'm an American citizen. I think that's hateful. You know why? Because behind that counter is somebody illegal who came to this country, and now they're working behind the desk.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're working behind the desk. Uh-oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I actually I cut her off. And I'm going to call him right back. I totally agree with what Chanel said. Oh, here we go. Chanel?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I got too close to the screen.
Okay.
I mean, that makes me upset. I'm here in my country, minding my business, paid.
Hold on. She's going to still keep talking, don't worry. That's what she does. Oh my God, I love her though. That's what I'm sorry. Okay, Chanel, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chanel.
Foreigners, I'm sitting up here talking about how terrible Americans are. If you don't like this country, get out. And I don't want to hear no more of your smart remarks, okay? I cannot come to your country, kick you off of your job, deny you medical benefits, deny everything. I can't do it in your country. So how in the hell do you think you can come to America and do it here? If you want to call it hate, that's your interpretation. It's not mine.
Very, very good point. Very, very good point. Kim, what do you think about that?
I know it's not hate because there's no other country on the planet that treats foreigners the way that we do. You go to another country, first of all, they're not going to cater to you. And if you overstay your welcome, when you first get there, the first thing they say is, what are you doing here? And when are you leaving? And so you need to say business or pleasure. And then when are you leaving? And if you overstay your welcome, you're either going to go to jail or maybe worse than that, depending on where you overstay your welcome. So this country, we have all of these people who are not American, and we cater to them. We bend over backwards for them. They shouldn't be getting food stamps and public assistance and all of that. And then they come over here, and I'm trying to figure out, you're an immigrant, but then when I go to my community, you're the ones that selling me, either gasoline or the hair care products or fruits and vegetables or meat, whatever. You have the businesses, and they come over here and they have, economic opportunities, and we've been here our whole life, and we can't have it. And it's not hate; it's just real. It's just being honest about it. And I'm sorry, it's not hate. You're gonna take care of home first. So what about all these people who are American? We have to take care of them first, and then we can do. Charity begins at home. So we need to take care of home first, and then we can start taking care of other people because home is broken. There's too many homeless people here. It breaks my heart when you come, and it's homeless families. It's not even just homeless,
You're right.
Single people. It's homeless
Children.
families here.
You're right.
That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace in this country. But we have people coming here, and then they get housing, they get welfare, they get food stamps, they get everything, and they get more than people that are here that need help. Welfare is supposed to be a handout. It's not supposed to be a handout, and it's not supposed to be a lifestyle. I'm sorry. So
and they have the audacity. Go on, I'm sorry. They have the audacity to criticize Americans, and I'm tired. And American families are suffering. And again, you pay into the system for what? For them to come over here and weep and take, and then throw it in our face. Oh, I got an education from Harvard, a free education from Harvard. Why you paying on your student loan, and they going after you for your student loan? I mean, it's enough is enough. No smart remarks, and that's who's making the remarks. These nasty, and I'll say closet racists, illegal aliens, and foreigners with an attitude that we owe you nothing. We don't owe you citizenship. It is to be earned. My husband, he's deceased now, was an immigrant. He came over here we met in college on a student visa. That's what he came on. He had to earn his way. He could not get on welfare. This is when we had the merit system. They try to pretend like we need the merit system. We had it. They removed it. He had to stand in line. I would have stood in line with him downtown LA. You could not get arrested. You could not have a record. You had to find a job. You had to have a sponsor. They took away all that. And then they let them come across the border. And they let their kids come here across the border by themselves. Anybody else, child, you let your child go to another state by themselves and see what happened to you.
Somebody in the chat room, let me ask you this, ladies. Everything that you're saying is like so on point. I'm so on fire about what you're saying because it's so true. Someone in the chat room talked about the Congressional Black Caucus early on, and I'm trying to find that question. But basically, they want to know what are they doing about Africans and participating with them.
What is the Black Caucus doing?
Yes.
I guess supporting.
The Black Caucus is anything the Black Caucus can do to get money, whatever the cause of the day is what they back. The Congressional Black Caucus told us that a long time ago.
Yes.
Because if they was really about Black people, they would stop Black genocide, abortion, and instead of you look at how they get up in arms when you talk about defunding Planned Parenthood. I've never seen a Planned Parenthood in a well-to-do neighborhood. They're always in poor areas because if they get rid of the Black weeds, us. So the Congressional Black Caucus told us that a long time ago. They stopped being public servants. They are self-servants. They are self-serving, and they haven't been for us. I would probably say at least the last 50 years, they haven't been for us, to be honest.
And I totally agree with you. I think that's why we all had to start coming together and thinking about a new Black coalition, because here we are, the children of the indigenous slave tribe, not getting the benefits, but people who come here who don't understand the pains of our ancestry, the blood that's in the ground, the broken bones that gave up so much to build a foundation that is laid called America. We as Americans, Black Americans, the inherited children, are not getting any of the benefits. But we have people who are telling us that the Africans are coming here. So the talk in the chat room and on the Black conscious community online, you guys, because I know some of you guys don't know some of these shows that I watch, I want to ask you this question. They're saying the Black men who are American men are saying, look, we need to go to Africa. Africa needs our help. Africa has businesses that they want us to set up. Africa has land they're willing to sell to us. Africa has the infrastructure that they want African Americans to come and build a relationship up with them. Then there's the controversy over, well, they've never came here and helped us, but they always want something from us to help them. If we go to African as African American women, from a woman's perspective, my whole thing is this: most of those men, if you're a woman and your husband wants a boyfriend or whatever wants to go to Africa, I would think that he would indoctrinate himself, number one, within the African culture, And those men would get in his ear and say, "You can have more than one woman in our country." So that's going to be red flag number one. You're going to have to deal with other women trying to go after your man because they want citizenship. Number two, I think is a
Yeah.
problem too, is that you're gonna be out in some country where you're gonna get a whole different energy. Now, women exude certain energies, certain power traits are put out through women. We all have to agree with it. And African American women are no exception. They have special energy. And then you deal with an African woman, she thinks she's a little bit papa. Like Chanel has said, they think they're a little bit above us. And so now our man wants to take us, move us to Africa, start businesses and developing a relationship, when I think that you're going to have an animosity issue and you're going to have territorial issues of your manhood and your man trying to be possessed by some woman who wants citizenship. Anybody want to lay into that one?
Well, I just want to say something.
Go on, Kim. Go on.
I was going to say, when he said about going to Africa, well, how about going to Chicago? How about going to South Central LA? How about going to New York City? No. I need to take care of. How about going to Appalachia? I mean, no. Africa can do Africa. We need to do America. I'm sorry.
Yes. I agree. Africa is not one continent. It's different countries. What is it? How many countries?
Like
50 some 50 some
50,
countries?
yeah, 50 some
Africa's
countries.
not one. Africa's not one. So if you make a mistake and cross the line, I mean, it's just like crossing the border of Mexico. Anything could happen. Africa needs to work on Africa. They had apartheid, but they need to take it across the whole continent and join first before they could tell America what to do. And I would hate to see blacks pick up and move over there and be mistreated and treated worse because of it's different countries over there. It's not like the United States. We have a federal, which is the law of the land. Africa's not like that. So people need to think about that. Don't get me wrong, there's some nice parts in Africa, I hear. It's some nice, parts to go to. But, like I said, lo and behold, don't cross the line and end up in another country, and it's a lot of Muslims over there too. And they're like the Muslims from the Middle East. They have their customs, and black females can run over there if they want to. They have to keep in mind, men over there believe you can have 4 and 5 wives. Are you ready to run over there and work yourself to death and then be number 5? Black women need to think about that.
Let me ask this too as well. What about the infrastructure? I've been told that the electric will pop off sometimes. You'll be like online or in your house, and all of a sudden, all the electric cut off. It just cuts off. They have infrastructural issues. I know Akon, the rapper's over there, and he has developed more roads and more lights and more electricity. They still, with all the resources that they have, the diamonds and the golds that they have allowed the Chinese to come and strip from them, the deals that the bad deals, the trade deals that they've made with England and China. Now they want us to come over them and help them think. I'm still trying to understand if your infrastructure is disrupted and you have all these other people trying to come into your culture and mate with your people. And so now you have these Asian black looking people out there. They're creating, I don't know, they probably have a name for those people. Like they named us, mulatto. If a white man had a baby with a black woman, they probably got a mulatto name too. I'm trying to understand, Chanel, why would we want to go and be part of that?
Yeah, I mean, people better really think about it. They better really, before they hop continents, and they don't have really a threshold or foundation in that continent. It's different if they have relatives over there. But again, Africa is not united. They have an African Union, but I don't know if all the countries are part of that union. And the African Union is leading to the New World Order. That's what it's about. So people better be real careful. I mean, we're here united, and we still have our own problems. All 50 states or 52 states are united, and we still have our problems here. So you're going to run to a continent that's not united, and all the countries are different and separate and have their own rulers and stuff? I don't know. I don't know about that.
I got somebody in the chat room. This person, Chris Clark, says, so black women, I think they're talking about us, dislike Africans. And then it goes on and says, but white Caribbeans and everyone else is included in themselves. Look, we're not disliking African women, first of all. We're not disliking Africans, first of all. I think that what we feel is that our personal African American infrastructure has been disrupted by so many immigrants, not just Africans, but immigrants who come here and they ride on the backs of black people. They come into our country and they start in the urban black communities. And we welcome all of them in, the Chinese, the Koreans, and all the rest of them. Now, look, we don't have no beauty salons by us. We don't have no markets by us. Gas stations
Nope.
used to be owned by
Nope.
us. Banks used to be owned by us. But we allow them to come in, and then they get these visas. And then y'all think we're being mean. We're trying to let you know the real facts here. And if Africa was so great, why are they coming here? That's all I want to know. Why do they all want to come here? And yet I hear the black conscious community, O'Shea and Phil and all them. I got words out to those brothers. If y'all could get this video over to them, ask them. Ask them, why are you wanting us to take, you want to take a beautiful black woman like you here on the phone in front of you right now. Why would you put us in that type of scenario? Because if you're a light skinned sister, they might come down on you. And don't be married to somebody who was not black. You might get harassed as well. You got to deal with all those different dichotomies that are going on. Hey, you guys who are watching, we got 56 people watching us. Thank you so much. And Moses gave out a shout out for $1.99. Thank you for the money, my brother. Any money that people want to put in the chat room, you're more than welcome to. I appreciate that. But I don't understand, why would they think that we want that kind of anguish upon us? Because you're gonna have to be worried about your man all the time being over there, and no lights,
Yeah.
no good. What about the water? What about the food? I mean, somebody let me know what they feel about that.
Well, you know what? First of all, I'm not willing to wear the burqa. That not happening.
Say that again. Say that
I'm just
again.
not. I'm not willing to do that. Like you said, if Africa was so great, why are people leaving? Why are they trying to come here? No, I'm sorry, no. I'm not for it. I need to stay here and fix the problems in America. That's what I want to do. I mean, because I'm not. I don't even say African American. I say I'm Black American. I'm sorry, I do. And when people say, "Oh, well, you can't say that," what do you mean I can't say that? I don't know if my people are from Africa or not. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. But I'm Black American. That I know. That's what I am. And if you want to call me Negro, you can call me Negro too. But I just don't want to be called colored because that's racist. But in any event, no, I'm not willing to. I'm not willing to do. No, I'm too strong willed to put on a burqa or anything. Her jeep, whatever. And no, I'm not wearing the full thing. I'm not wearing the thing across my face. No, no.
You're not gonna wear you're not gonna wear the wrap around your head all the day. It's hot as hell out there. You're not gonna have to wear your breast, tie your breast down. You know how they take their breasts and they tie them down. I ain't trying to be funny, y'all. I'm just telling you, this is part of their culture. We would look crazy going over with some t-shirts and jeans, walking out every day when all the other women have been wrapped up. Or if you go into some of those tribal areas, I mean, Chanel, don't you want to go wrapped up in the burqa?
Yeah, right. No, no, I don't. Why should I hide? For what? I think that is senseless. I really do, and I think it's demeaning to women. Back when Kemet, before it was Egypt, men and women, males and female, were equal. So what happened? And I can speak on that because my ancestors are from Africa. We had the experience because sickle cell runs in our family. Our roots were traced back to Africa in Zambia, in one of the villages. So I can speak on that. And at one time, like I said, we were all equal. So what happened? That women must be walk behind men, wear these burqas, cover their face. What happened? All that is man-made, and it needs to stop. And I'm not going to go over there, submit to what they want to do. I'm not going to do it. I'm not, because I don't have to. And I'm not going to be apologetic to anybody. I'm not. And some of these countries, women aren't even allowed to drive. They're not allowed to go to school and be educated. Right. No.
Oh, wow.
No.
Say that again. No. Say that again, Kim. Women, what are women allowed or not?
Some of these countries, women are not allowed to go to school or drive. I mean, to be honest, and again, my opinion, to be a woman in the world, in America, in and of itself, is a blessing. Because whether you're a black woman, white woman, whatever, to be a woman in America is a blessing because in most of these other countries, you're property. Just like the cattle and whatever else they got, your property, they can do whatever to you. You don't have a recourse. Right. Forget about subservient. You are really a slave. And no, yeah. I'm not leaving freedom to go to slavery. No, absolutely not.
Can we talk about the weather differences as well? Because I know that it's pretty hot there. Um, I don't know about the water, the quality of the water. Now, I've been told Phil would really get on me because he'll say, "No, Sister Shirley, in this part of Africa, it's great, it's brilliant, it's a wonderful opportunity." I know many black men in this country have it very hard. Many black men don't have opportunities, and I think that's why they're trying to get black men to go there. But they have to keep in mind: does the black woman want to go there? Um,
Right. But
I think.
wait a minute. I want to know something. If Africa is so great and if it's so modern, how come they have all these commercials on telling us about feeding the children? The children been starving for at least 50 years. So what part of Africa, don't laugh, what part of Africa is really doing so well? I mean, every time you turn around, adopt a child, sponsor a child, feed the children, UNICEF, but Africa's peachy keen. I don't think so. I'm just not. No. I'm sorry. No. Mm-mm. No. The kids been starving. The kids been starving for 50, 60 years. But Africa is great. I'm not buying it, and I'm not moving myself or my family or no. Mm-mm. I need to stay in America and fix America. Nope.
Well, I have two children, and they're both into education. They both been to Africa. My daughter was even offered a job there, I think, last year, and they left it open for like 2 years. She went to Egypt, and it gets really hot there. Believe it or not, it goes up to 140 degrees in Egypt. So, like Shirley said, some parts are probably comfortable and a little more tropical, but there's some parts of Africa that are extremely hot. And Egypt is one of the most popular parts, but it gets up to 140 degrees. People need
Wow.
to keep that in mind.
Wow. Wow. That's
Yes.
that's really interesting. Hey, you guys, get the thumbs up. We've got 45 people live. Thank you so much for watching us live. And we appreciate you sharing this video. Make sure you share it on every platform: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. I have two amazing women in the chat room. So if you guys don't know, I have Chanel Temple. She's an activist in Los Angeles. She has worked very adamantly within the Black urban communities from Watts to South Central, throughout the state of California. She travels abroad. She has met the president of the United States, Mr. Trump. She was a Trump supporter during the duration of the campaign in 2016. We also have Kimberly Mack. She is the Urban Game Changers Executive Director for Pennsylvania. She is also running for office in Pennsylvania. She is a phenomenal, strong woman. Both of these women are a lot of chocolate, a lot of mocha, a lot of, oh, Jesus, take the wheel. It's like straight espresso. Yeah. They're straight espresso. But I will tell you that Kim is a forthright woman. She loves the Lord. She is and has a great insight about what goes on in Pennsylvania. She was a delegate for her state, just as I was a delegate for California for President Trump. I think the key thing that people don't understand is that just because President Trump's elected doesn't mean the world is all fine and dandy in the Black community. If we as African American people don't understand priorities of how we should focus, then we fail ourselves. If we continue to think that this administration is doing great and making the world great again, for who? For us? As Chanel had mentioned earlier, we were expecting in 2016, Mr. Trump made an announcement about what happened to the New Deal for Black America. That's kind of been put on the back burner, partly because of that witch that he hired, called Omarosa, who failed the Black people, who's spreading lies and rumors. Because as many of you know, I've told this many a times that I've given her personal resumes. I met with her in Trump Tower in 2016, December 16, 2016. And I gave her names and numbers of African American people who wanted to sit down and create a plan of action and basically bounce off of what Mr. Trump had already laid as far as the template of the New Deal for Black Americans. But as you know, what happened with that, she's no longer with the Trump administration, and Black people have gotten lost in the abyss in this administration. To some extent, yes, we did get a wonderful tax break, and yes, we are benefiting just like the rest of the Americans in this country. But I think we have specific needs. And I think the ladies who are on the phone right now will agree that we have specific needs in this country that need to be addressed. Mr. Trump did talk about prison reform, and he also met with pastors regarding Lyndon B. Johnson's amendment of allowing blacks to talk in the church. 5013C is the nonprofit organizations that are out there could not speak about politics. They just couldn't speak about it in the church. And so Mr. Trump signed an executive order, and he had ministers around saying, now you'll be able to talk about this. The challenge with that, though, is that it's not a law. So we are encouraging you guys to go to congress.gov and go to congress.gov and look up this bill. I think it's H781. I'm going to look it up real quick for you, but H781, go on your phone, look that up, and support that bill because that bill has to go through a committee. That committee goes through Congress and then it goes through the Senate, and then the president signs it, and then it becomes a law. Because any executive order can be circumvented. That means that whoever signs an executive order, that does not make it concrete unless it goes through the proper channel. It's just what the president at the current time of its operation is out there. So going back to Africa, let me say this last thing on Africa, and then what I'm going to give you guys after I finish talking with these ladies, I'm going to give you some solutions of where to go if you're interested in starting a black business and dealing with black business people here in America. I love what Kim and Chanel said, and both these ladies are right on point. They said you have to take care of home first. If you don't take care of home first, you have failed yourself. If you don't know how to use the infrastructural opportunities, listen to me, stay with me, focus on my voice. If you don't take care of the local and state and federal opportunities that are arise that are there for you, then you fail in understanding the power of being an African American. Because as an African American, there are numerous of benefits that are you have here. But if you're going to allow your energy to be distracted and to be pulled away and focus on something else, and if it falls apart, you've wasted your time. A lot of energy and opportunities that here, you already know how it works. You just need to understand the final pieces to tie the loops together. I'm going to start off with Kim and then I'll end it with Chanel. Kim, again, tell me your final perspectives of blacks doing business. Why should we not do business in Africa and do it here in America? Why should we? I'm not saying we don't want to engage with them or work with them, but I just think that with this administration, a capitalist administration, why aren't more black people waking up to that versus looking at it from a negative perspective?
I think it's about the money. When you start following the money, because it's not money is not evil, but it's the love of it that's evil. And you have to take care of home first. You can do, once you get your businesses set up at home domestically, then you can go international, Africa, or whatever country you want. But you need how can you say you want to start something over there when we're not whole? This country is broken, especially in black communities. So if you're not taking care of home first and foremost, I wouldn't even trust somebody if I was an African leader. I wouldn't really trust somebody coming over to my country for a startup that's not successful here. Because how do we know you're not going to come over here and make it work for us? But that being said, I think people are just chasing money, chasing dollars. They think it's going to be easy money. And if it's subsidized by America, then it probably will be easy money because that's just how things tend to work. But first and foremost, there's a lot of communities here, hundreds of communities here, thousands of communities here that are broken and they could use these economic opportunities. So we need jobs, not just jobs. We need job training. We need to train people to get these jobs here. We can start businesses here, entrepreneurship here. Africa, it should be secondary, not primary. Our primary focus should be America, because once we're whole, then we can go out and fix Africa. But we can't do Africa first and we're broken. It's just illogical in my opinion.
I totally agree with that. Chanel, what's your take on that one?
I agree with Kim 100%. Follow the money. It's all about the money, number one. Number two, I think that Trump's announcement could be a big PR movement, public relations. Number three, we already had a black president from Kenya. Does he want to open that door again? That did nothing for the black community. So why backtrack and go through that again? We owe Kenya nothing. If you're going to make a deal, come to California, help the blacks here in California and the other states, New York, Chicago. Let's start at home first. That's what we need to do. Open up the doors for black businesses. Open up the doors for loans for black businesses. Other nationalities come over here foreign and they do well. We help build this country. We help sustain this country. And we can't even go out and get a business loan. I have tried myself. And I have a degree in business management and also in business administration. And it's unfair. It's unfair. So, but if we don't speak out, nothing happens, and it's unfair. And that's why I'm out there in the Black community. Somebody got to represent us.
That's true. That's true. And I think that if we keep our voice silent, we will never move forward through the pain. We cannot continue to be silent. We have to be proactive versus non-active. We talk about being reactive. We are reactive verbally. We're reactive online. We're reactive in our communities, conversing and cursing and complaining and tweeting and social media. But that's not enough, people. That's not enough.
No.
You have to be engaged. That's why I told you to go to congress.gov, learn the bills that are on the table, the one that's going to allow us to talk in the churches. Some of y'all don't even go to church anymore. That was designed. That was designed by the government to divide us away from God. That was designed by the government because Black people used to meet in church. We couldn't meet nowhere else. Couldn't meet nowhere else. We had met in the church, and then when they found out we were meeting churches, they were bombing the churches. That's why they bombed the church. They didn't care about you worshiping God. They cared about you organizing against them. That's what they cared about. They cared about you organizing against them. So now, what LGBT and Lyndon B. Johnson came in and said, "Oh, okay, I don't know how to fix these Negroes. We won't. We tell them you ain't got to pay no taxes on whatever little money you make praising Jesus. But keep in mind that if you do decide to talk or have social media talking about politics or social justice issues in your personal communities, we are going to cut you off. We're going to cut you off." So President Trump signed an executive order. I think it was signed May 17th. And people are excited. The ministers who don't know about it, please tell your pastor, tell your clergyman, tell them that you should be able to talk in those churches. You know, I got questions, ladies. They got Bible studies, maybe 2 or 3 days a week. What else do they do with them empty buildings? Why can't Black ministers start talking about community engagement? I don't understand that. Explain that one to me.
Because they get paid.
money. Always the money.
But I mean, couldn't that? But I mean, wait a minute. You got an empty day on Thursday. They got Tuesday night Bible study, Wednesday night Bible study. Then what else do they have? They ain't got nothing else going on. They don't got nothing else going on. So I never understood why they weren't trying to think of ways to bring activities or engagement into the community around all that. I don't understand that.
Well, I think it depends on what the church's mission is, because if the church is about growing the kingdom and saving souls, then it is going to be doing outreach and engagement. If the church is, pushing the prosperity message, sowing the seed, then they don't want to give back. They just want to take. So it depends. That's going to be, who is the leader of this church? What is their mission? Are they to serve the community, or are they to just take from the community? So it depends. I mean, there are some churches that are doing that, but there's not enough. Because I remember, when the church was the center of the community, before welfare, the church took care of all social issues and in the community.
It's true.
Before they came up with welfare. So it's not that the church didn't have a prominent role in the community. Most, especially the Black churches, it was the prominent part of the community. Then all of a sudden, okay, again, money. Offering tax cuts, tax breaks, no tax, if you do X, Y, and Z, but there's nothing that's ever free. So the price was, you're silent. So now you have to be silent. And then they turn around and they say, okay, well, we'll be silent. So we got to make that money up somehow. So we're going to just tell you, stop preaching about sin and hell and heaven, and just talk about sowing the seed for prosperity. If you sow this seed, X amount of dollars, then, wealth is coming your way. No. God wants 10%. He don't want 100% of your money. No, 10%. You tithe. That's it. So you have these churches, people, they don't even have everything they need, but they don't have any problem just taking. And then you see these ministers, some of them have planes, private jets, and they have these designer suits, and they're driving in all these
Come on now.
luxury cars. No. How you driving in a luxury car, but where your church is, the kids don't have enough food to eat. They got to go to the summer.
I want to know what happened to the breakfasts. They used to have breakfast or some donuts in the morning. They're so legally protected. They live in fear. If they don't talk about God is not giving you a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind, they live in fear because they don't even want to contribute back to the community with a little small meal. I got to go through my attorneys. It's crazy out there.
Yeah.
I want to read some of the chat questions. Go ahead, Chanel.
I just want to say that black churches nowadays are set up as corporations. No longer they're supposed to be registered nonprofit, supposedly, which means you give back to the community. And just like you two ladies were discussing, they're taking more from the community, and they're set up like corporations now, and they're being paid also from the government. Whatever they're lacking, the government is making up for it because they lead the people, or should I say, they lead the sheeple. The sheeple, that's what they're doing.
No, that's true.
So
I mean,
it used to be church and state is separate. Church and state is no longer separate.
you know,
Trust me.
Phil from the Vice Show said exactly. You're so right, Chanel. You're so right, because Phil from the Vice Show talks about, he calls it the white daddy, where the government comes in and they take care of everything. And see, the church used to step in, and then the black men would always know the church was there for the family. We've gotten away from the family unit. I want to say a couple shout outs. Big Sap, thank you for coming in. And Doug, thank you for coming in and monitoring for me. It really means a lot. Suave is in. Melissa is in. Chris is still on. Thank you so much, you guys. It means a lot that you're following me and sharing my videos. And please get those thumbs up. We've got 49 people live. It really helps the more people that like this video and share this video, the more exposure we can expose about, you know, we as black women, we as Americans need to have priorities. And for some reason, we get distracted with conversations of other countries, and they love us because they know what we bring. We bring knowledge, we bring skill sets. Okay. We bring skill sets. We bring infrastructural layouts, because we have a structure of how things are done in life compared to those people over there. But the problem is our infrastructure is failing because we don't unite each other. We beat each other up. We call each other names. We're self-haters. We call us all these things instead of us listening to each other, to be open-minded, to have instead of a convoluted mind of what the government and what other people have told us to say about each other, even if we don't agree on each other's parties, political party lines. We as African American people have just as much rights as other people. And when people say, oh, but we're all the same, but we're not. Because if you know, in California, if you live here, we have, I call it a bad version of Epcot. You got little Chinatown, little Tokyo, little Koreatown. You got little Ethiopia. Little Ethiopia does not even want to bleed with the blacks in California. They got their own little world. They think they're better than us. The Ethiopian women don't even want to associate with the black American women. And now, I'm just keeping it 100 and keeping it real. Now, don't get mad at me online when I'm telling you real facts. So now you want me as an African American woman, and these black men are all on YouTube, Dinus and Phil and O'Shea. I love you, brothers, I really do. But come on, let's keep it 100. You expect to get your black woman over into Africa so that she can have your black American woman, so she can have all these other women praying after you. They're gonna be praying a pray. You know what a pray is? Prey. They'll be praying after you, wanting to have you include them into their system of meaning that you can have more than one wife. How do you think that makes us feel as women? We don't want to be invaded upon our territory. Our men are territorial just like we are to them. So I mean that is a question that needs to be discussed, and that's out there. Moses, thank you so much for coming in. Kim, MSK is out there, because some of these people are talking about illegal immigrants. They're talking about white money goes all over the world and gets money. So we should not exclude ourselves from the competitors. Now that's what has been talked about online. What do you guys feel about that? We're not saying to be excluded. I just think that we ain't even got the ABCs of our own people down right. I mean, and for those who do, maybe we should let those people who have that money and the rights to do that. I mean, and support those people. But does that mean a large percent of it just go that way? I mean, Kim, what do you think about that?
Well, how are you going to start a business in another country when you can't start a business here? I mean, I don't. You first of all, you're not even a citizen. So if you start this business, do you even own it? You know, how do we know that the government doesn't own these businesses and you're basically just, you know, almost like a shareholder in the business? It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not against, like I said, Africa can be a secondary, because you know, you look at a lot of the big corporations. You know, they're here in America, and you know, they're in other countries. And now they're coming back because the taxes are a lot lower in America. So a lot of these companies are bringing it back. So it's not that you can't be a global company, but you need to start in your own country. I'm sorry, where is your allegiance to America? Where is your patriotism? So you never had a business. or you've never been successful in business, but you want to just go to Africa and they're going to take you with open arms. I'm not buying it. There's got to be a catch. There's got to be a catch. There's got to be something hidden, and again, you get over there. I wouldn't go. I don't care what some man says. I wouldn't go. I just would not go. I'm sorry. No. You get it going. You get it established. You show me a plan. You show me where it works. Maybe I'll consider it. But again, like I said, I'm not willing to wear the burqa. I'm not. I'm just not doing that. And a lot of those countries are Muslim countries. So no, no. I just don't. I don't. And I'm not going to apologize for how I feel. How I feel is how I feel. It's my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. But I think you need to start domestically before you start reaching out globally. Whether it's Africa, Asia, I don't care where you go. But you need to start at home first. If you are American, take care of America first. These countries, obviously, they don't have people over there to do it. So now they're reaching out for us. So if Africa was so great, how come Africans couldn't start their own businesses and then want to expand in America or partner with America? No, they want Americans to come and do it. So no, I think there's a catch, a hidden catch, and I'm not buying it. Not at all.
You are totally correct, Kim. There is a hidden catch, and I think they want blacks shipped out of the United States back to Africa. We don't know who. Well, we do know who. Some of us know who. But I think it's some big plot to try to encourage blacks to leave the country. That way they can pull in more foreigners that they can control into this country, or they can send for their people to come to this country while we leave.
Say that. Hold on. Say that again, Chanel. That's a really good point. Say that again. They want to do what?
Yeah. I heard about 2 years ago how they were starting the movement to drive back blacks to the southern states. They want blacks, and I think that's why a lot of blacks have been attacked in California and the major cities, because they want us all to migrate and move down south. That's what they want us to do. Who's to say they're not trying to do the same thing, trying to send us back to Africa? And the more of us leave, the more they bring their people here. I just saw an article yesterday where people are still crossing that border, but it's not on mainstream media. They're still coming over here, still.
So sad. It's so sad. It's interesting, and I'm going to ask Kim about this. Kim, when you're in D.C., and Chanel, you've been in D.C., I noticed that the security supervisor are African, but the African Americans are the other guys. They give the Africans the security leadership position. That's because probably the head manager is African, and he gives them the superior positions. And I noticed that the other brothers who are African American, they don't get those positions. And they want to say that we're all the same. We're not the same. We're not the same, people. We get discriminated by Africans in America, and I think that should be something we talk about. And we're not trying to be mean or biased. And maybe we are biased in some extent because, Africans are able to be blessed in this country because of African Americans. I'm sorry. If it wasn't for us who have fought, you become a slave just like us. You wouldn't even want to come to this country. You would be still looked at as commodity, another form of commodity to be brought over here. And you would be indoctrinated into doing domestic work like we used to always have to do and have no opportunity. That's a fair point on both parts if we don't say something about that. And that's so much truth in that. I want to go to this question. Thank you, Moses Jenkins is giving money. He gave another $1.99. Every dime adds up. It helps a lot. It really means a lot to me. For those who can give $20, $30, $40, whatever you can give, it's really a lot. It means a lot. But I'm so grateful for the money that anyone wants to give towards Urban Game Changers, because we have a big event coming up, Politicon. We're going to wait to share this with you this upcoming week. I'm going to do a whole show on it, and we're going to talk about that. But this is his question. It says, so black women who code, code, tech coding, can't teach in Ghana. I don't know if this is true or not. I know that certain women, I think Chanel mentioned this, are limited in countries of what they're able to do. I mean, they've got this organization called Black Girls That Code. You can go to code.org. Again, trades versus universities, where Black people should identify. We have a capitalist administration, and we have technology and social media that allows us to have a platform and a voice to start businesses without brick and mortar. You can start businesses without brick and mortar. So that means you don't have to have a building. You don't have to have a place to hover over your head. It can all be online. And if black people can wake up to that factor versus looking at what the Democrats are telling you, which is, well, go ahead and do a small business loan or a nonprofit or and a pro profit. Well, you don't want no nonprofit. You need profit. We need profit. So I don't understand why y'all keep thinking you got to do those kind of routes. I want to know, and one of you ladies let me know this. Why can't black people work with black people? I mean, what is our problem? Why can't we work together in business here in America? That we're gonna go way overseas and work with some stranger we don't ever met before.
I think it's the mentality. I mean, we've been conditioned to just like crabs in the bucket. You know, somebody's trying to get out, you bring them back down. I think that goes back to slavery, where we've been conditioned. You know, it's kind of the people in the house versus people in the field. Good hair, all of that. I think we've been conditioned by white people. And I'm gonna say Democrats because the Klan, the Democrats, that was Democrats. So we've been conditioned to not work together, and we are the only ethnic group that does not work together. They come over here and they pool together. If they got to live 20 in the house, and they will get a business going, and we can't even, have five in the house agreeing on something, without jealousy and envy.
Wow.
Part of me, it's a God problem. I think it's a God problem because when we had God as the center of our lives, the church was the center of the community. We had black-owned businesses. The Hill District in Pittsburgh, Harlem, and I'm sure every other big city had black community businesses and all of that. And once we sold our souls for 30 pieces of silver. We kicked our men out for welfare. So our families are broken. And until we fix the brokenness, I don't even know how we get unity. There's just so much going on. Our young men are being raised by women. And I'm sorry, I can teach my son to be a loving human being, but I can't teach him to be a man because I'm not a man. So we got to get these men taking responsibility for their kids and raising the kids,
Absolutely.
not just the mom, And I really think it is a God problem, but more importantly, we got to get back to basics. We got to start over. We really have to start over because what we're doing is not working, and we've been doing it for a very long time. So I think it's going to come back to just starting over. Educating our own black children because the education system is not. Even if it doesn't necessarily have to be a primary situation, but we need to supplement what our kids are being taught in school because what they're being taught in school is just not. It's not helping them. Average high school person graduating now, they can't even really read and perform. The colleges are having to dumb it down. We need to be promoting trade schools, because I don't care what anybody says. Let something go wrong with your heating or your air conditioning or your refrigeration. That's good money. Let something go wrong with the electric or plumbing, and Lord, don't let it happen on the weekend because you're going to be paying so much. Let something go wrong with your car. So these are all honorable professions, and we moved away from that because not everybody's college material, but we have a lot of talented young people who just need that kind of technical and also technological training. And you mentioned Black Girls Code. Well, why aren't Black girls teaching other young Black girls in these urban cities how to code? They trying to take it to Ghana, but they don't want to help these American young girls code. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. What's going on? Because I'm sure there's so many community centers, boys and girls clubs, all kind of
That's
stuff.
true.
You want to teach some Black girls? We can find you some Black girls, teach them how to code, and then you can go over to Ghana. Once every Black girl, or any, for that matter, a white girl too, any girl that wants to code in America, once they are all coding and they can do it, then take it elsewhere. I'm sorry. You Black girls code. We want to be international. Well, how about fixing some domestic issues first? I'm sorry. This doesn't make sense to me. No other country is doing what we're doing, and it's insanity. So you want to teach coding? Yeah, teach it here first. I'm sure we can find some people in Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, Chicago,
Yes.
New York. We can find some girls.
Absolutely. And you're so right on point, Kim, because Elijah said to you, and I want to hear Chanel's perspective on this, but Elijah said, Kim, please note that what she's talking about was before integration. where we did have families that worked together, and black families
Yes,
learned to
yes,
teach their children. And we mentioned this earlier, Elijah. We talked about, of course, Black Wall Street, and many people are bringing back that up again. But we're in 2018. We have a capitalist administration. We have a president who talked about the New Deal. And we have black people failing black people because we're distracted by focusing on Africa and its continents and the opportunities that are in Africa, when we had the civil rights that have been granted to us, one of the most powerful tools that we allowed under the Obama administration to be stripped from us and given to illegal immigrants and given to the gays. So now a gay white man is a minority. A gay lesbian woman is, or a lesbian woman is a minority, and she has civil rights. He's got civil rights, and everyone else has a specific a genre or program set aside for them. Their foundations. The Jewish people have foundations. The Latino Coalition, they have a foundation. The Asian people have foundations. But when it comes to black people, like the Congressional Black Caucus is supposed to represent black people, they say they represent all people. It's really amazing to me how they represent all people. And we don't have a monolithic thinking of mind upon our own people. And I'm sorry, folks, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem because we are not taking care of home. You've got emasculated black men. That's what Kim is saying right there. You got all these women, and I thank God for my aunt and my mother and my grandmother. They helped raise me. They helped make me the man I am. I have no disrespect for that. And I praise God for women who are able to contribute to their children and stay strong in their life. But I mean, a lot of these men are being converted and perverted by gay men. Black men got out of prison. They've been in there a long time having sex with other men, and they bring that energy into the community. And now the community has learned to accept them as well as lesbian black women. That is very rampant is the word, rampant in the black community. And I have to say this, a lot of this started, people think it's prison. I believe it started in the church. I'm sorry, folks. Y'all,
can I speak
go
on?
ahead,
Can I
Chanel. Go
say
ahead.
something about that subject since we're on that subject? The black community is being destroyed by design. It was a plan, just like this illegal immigration. This is not the first time they have poured people into this country. Someone had posted, it's interesting, a video of Martin Luther King, and he broke it into detail talking about how the United States allowed foreigners. Now, Martin Luther King been dead how long? This has happened every 30 years. This happens to the black community. And people need to wake up and realize that and stop the pattern. Number one. Again, number one, we're being destroyed our families are being destroyed by design. Black Wall Street, in Oklahoma, Rosewood in Florida. What about Emmett Till? Now they want to bring up the Emmett Till story for over 63 years ago. What not about dealing with today? What's going on with this illegal immigration? Why you got to go and dig up what happened to blacks 63 years ago? They need to deal with what's going on with blacks right now today. And Shirley, you brought up the prison thing. You're right. 55% of black men in jail, that's by design. 3 strikes, that's by design. What's her name? Michelle Alexander wrote the book,
Yes.
The New Black Crow. You know what she said in her book? It was more black men in jail today than there were in slavery. And then people start, focusing on that because it's the truth. And then we have 65% of blacks unemployed. Come on now. Black families are being destroyed and communities by design. By design. This is a well-orchestrated plan, and that's what they're doing. Well, you know what? We need to start healing ourselves. We need to go back to it takes a village to raise a child. When we were a village, when we were raising ourselves, we would promote ourselves, we would patronize each other ourselves. They purposely continue to break us up. They took our men out of the home. And then it's just like the haves and have not. They make sure all the black stars and sports players are overcompensated, while you have blacks, in lower class that are undercompensated. It's a great divide. And people pretend like they don't see it. And they pretend like we're the cause of what's going on. I'm not saying that our community is perfect, but we have been literally systematically attacked, and we continue to be systematically attacked. And they're destroying the black community by design. People need to wake up.
They definitely need to wake up. Kim, what do you think about that?
Well, it's even deeper than that because you have to take it back to the fact that more black babies are aborted than born.
Yes.
And
Say that again,
if you
Kim.
look at, I said more black babies are aborted than born. So now we're down as a people, population wise, and then we're killing us, the violence amongst ourselves. So we are being exterminated, and I use that word purposely, exterminated, deliberately. It's genocide. They're coming at us in so many ways because when you push homosexuality, and this is not a judgment, I'm not homophobic, but when you push homosexuality, there's no fruit that comes from that. So therefore, population is controlled. When you push abortion, you're killing the lives. Okay, now Planned Parenthood is making money off of our baby parts. They have a catalog, and these are black babies because more black babies are aborted than white and other race babies. So now they're making money. You want to make a Democrat mad? You talk about defunding Planned Parenthood. They're ready to fight.
Come on
So
now.
it is deliberate. If you see the movie Mafa, MAAFA, it's on YouTube. Mafa 21.
Mafa 21.
It
Okay.
tells you.
Hey,
It
someone in
tells
the,
you.
hold on. Somebody in the chat room, spell that again so they can put it in the chat room. What is it called?
MAAFA.
M A
Maafa.
Mafa. MAAFFA. Okay.
21.
21. Okay.
And
Okay.
Maafa means great tragedy.
Wow. Great
And this is
tragedy.
by
Interesting.
design. This is by design. It's a documentary. It's a little bit over 2 hours long. But when you see that documentary, you will see they started from Reconstruction. Because see, once slavery ended, they didn't know what to do with all these black people. Because before, remember, you having, of course you want people to have babies and babies and babies, so those babies who work the farm. So once slavery ended, they didn't know what to do. So they had to come up with a plan. And the plan was abortion. And so once abortion, when you look at statistic-wise, black people are 12.8% of the population. That's including our children. When you ask the average person, they think it's about 40%. Maybe 40% black, and 40%, or maybe even maybe 50% white, 10% other. So we're not even 15% because of black on black crime and because of abortion. So when you look at those numbers and you see, and I'm gonna tell you one number that's accurate is the black number because we've been told our whole entire life, be sure to check off you black so that you get everything that you're entitled to. So we don't lie about being black. We can't wait to check the box off so we can get whatever we're supposed to get. So our numbers are accurate. The Latino number is really being hidden deliberately because black not Latino, Latino not black, and then they break it down into 10 different, 10 different nationalities, under Hispanic, and then you look at it, the CIA can tell you exactly how many cell phones are in this country, but they can't tell you how many Latinos are here. And they know. But see, what's going to happen is that white people are going to be alarmed when they find out just how many
are out here. Yeah.
are here.
Especially the ones in California. So I want to give you ladies, I've been posting in the chat room. I want to tell you about an organization that I'm working right now with, hoping we'll be able to work with Urban Game Changers. And I haven't shared this with anyone, and I'm going to share it live and as well as with you guys. It's called the Urban Black Institute. If you go to, and the Urban Black Institute is an organization that basically helps black businesses get started. They get you the loan for your black business, and they are really focusing on, I think our number one economic loss is that we don't buy from each other, and that's from the hair industry. The beauty supply, the wigs, the extensions, all that is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And the Koreans are just greedy, and they keep everything from the distribution to the markets and the stores. Now, there was a hair documentary show that was done. You can find it on YouTube. And there was a black a hair store in Oakland a couple of years back that was there, and the Koreans opened up next to it, and they claim, ladies, all of a sudden the Korean store caught on fire, and they called the police on the black store saying that they did it. And we all know them Koreans can get ruthless like that. They can get very, very ruthless like that. So, here is a situation where this is called the Black Business Institute. They have a course that you go through. The smaller course is $3.99 up to $7.99. Once you complete it, they set you up with all the vendors. They set you up with a loan, and they give you the locations where we need to have more black stores. Now, I was told by one of the people at this organization, if we get so many black people that will open up a black store, we can go into managing more of our distribution, because that's where the money is. Let me read these statistics and the numbers. It says interesting statistics: 15% of adult African Americans have registered IN, INS, and that's approximately 3 million black people. So a lot of people don't understand the ENI number. I'm sorry, the EIN number, the EIN number. Chanel, why don't you tell about that? You are an accountant. Why don't you share a little bit about how important?
That EIN number, that's employer's identification number, EIN number.
Right.
When you start a business, you contact the IRS, you fill out a form, and they will assign a number, for tax purposes for your business. And apparently, this is what this organization is doing. They're setting you up and they're going through it, through the legal channels. They're pointing you to in the right direction how to set it up.
That is correct.
EIN, well, I can tell you the EIN number, you get it the same day. It's instant.
Yeah, you can. You can. You can call. You can get on the internet. You can call and get it. They have a couple of ways you can get it the same day. That's true. You set up a business, you can get it the same day. And that's all I'm saying. That this organization is apparently helping you do that, pointing you in the right direction.
Right. If you do it online, it's the fastest way. Literally, if you do it by mail or if you do it by phone, it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because and it's not only it's not only businesses, because political campaigns need an EIN number as well. That's why I know. But but I mean, I guess first and foremost, you need a business plan. And I'm sure that's probably what those courses will teach you about, having a business plan, and then of course you name your business and get the EIN number, and then you can open up shop. But to me, that's a beautiful thing that they're doing this, because we get undercut when we have a black business, and then you have Korea, whatever foreign country it is, they have a consortium, so they're buying in such bulk where you might be paying 50 cents, a pound for something they may be paying.
Good point.
So they can undercut you. So the fact that somebody's trying to get some type of consortium or co-op going on to do this, because it's not only the distribution, but it's also being able to buy from distributors that look like you. Because that's why black-owned business, that's why they can undercut us on everything.
That's true.
The hair and all of that, because they're buying in such bulk where the vendors are selling it, dirt cheap for them. Because if you can sell me something for $1 and still make a profit, how much did you really pay for it? You know what I mean? So you have to take it back to that and look at the fact that they're buying in such volume that it's really low. And where we are, 9 out of 10 times, we're independent owners. So we don't even have any type of union, I don't mean like union, like a union, but like any type of unity where we can buy in bulk. We don't usually have that at all.
I also would like to suggest, along with a business plan, you need a good account person or a good bookkeeper who knows how to file paperwork, knows what they're doing to account for everything. It's good to have that foundation in the beginning. A lot of people, they jump into business and then, they get behind or they get in trouble and they end up having to close their business. So I agree. You need a business plan, but you also need someone who knows what they're doing to guide you along the correct manner and the correct way when it comes to taking care of your accounting transactions, payroll, bookkeeping, and stuff like that. A lot of people fail. A lot of stars end up owing money because they trust the wrong people.
Yes.
People need to get in the habit of starting out, finding somebody that's really qualified and reliable. Check out their references or whatever. So once you get up, you can stay afloat. A lot of people fall into that mistake.
Another thing I would suggest is that don't ever, ever, ever let anybody else have the sole signature on your check. Make sure that you countersign every single solitary check. I would never have a business.
Or have two or three, yeah, or have
two or three signatures, yeah.
Signature. You heard about what happened with Oprah when she first started. Every expense went across her desk. Everything went across when she first got started. Everything went across, and I think that's why she ended up being so successful. She did not depend on one person to just distribute everything. Everything came across her desk.
You know, there's people. Let me read some of the things in the chat room. Some of the people in the chat room are talking about Amazon and how Amazon is becoming a monopoly, and I know the government's going to probably intervene eventually because they are gobbling up the small businesses and everybody now. There's a new generation. You guys know who you are. You're out there. You buy everything online. You don't want to go anywhere. I get it. But it still comes down to brick and mortar when it comes to something about black women and their hair. They want to be able to go. They want the hair grease unless they know there's a specific type of hair grease. They want to go to their beauty salon. Some of these beauty supply stores have hairstylists in the salon. So there's the sisterhood, just like there's a brotherhood when a brother goes to a barbershop. I'm going to read these bullet points and I want your ladies' opinion on it. The next bullet point says, and I put it online, go to urbanbusinessinstitute.com I put it in the chat room box if you guys want to read what I'm talking about. And this is a great organization. I would reach out to them if I were you. If you're serious about, you're interested in starting some type of business, you need some type of direction. This is one way, and I'm going to share another way about money in a second, how you can acquire money. They also have ways for you to make money and get loans through them. Now, if you got messed up credit, your credit, is kind of fucked up, you're gonna get a hard money loan, and don't complain about it. Because then you're going to have to learn how to work with that to get out of your hole. You might have a whole situation that you have got yourself into that you can't find yourself to get out of. So you need to have some words of wisdom. Don't go up to these people saying, Shirley, I like what they said, but they got me this crazy ass loan. And oh my God, it was so high. Look, anytime someone's taking a risk to give you their money, when you done spent your money the wrong way, you're going to get repercussions for that. You'll get repercussions for that. So, before you think of buying a house, you might want to think about a business. Before you think of buying a house, you might buy a duplex. Live in one side of the duplex and then rent the other side. You got to think longer and stronger with the money you do have or the access to that money. Let me read these bullet points, and now I love to hear your ladies' points on it. It says 21.
Before you read the bullet points, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
About the Urban Black Institute. After they help you start your business, do they have mentorship opportunities where business owners can mentor you? Because you always have problems coming up with your business, and you need somebody that could help you through, talk you through it, or whatever.
Absolutely, they do that. They have continual courses afterwards. I think they become partner with you in this process. This isn't one of those kind of schools where they basically sell you the program and then you're gone. There is a relationship because this is a black owned, operated, and executed. Let me say that again. It is black owned, operated, and executed. It is just like Urban Game Changers. And I think that's important because many of us are out there and we got these conservative pundits who want to say that they are talking to the black community. They're controlled by other entities. The white community. No offense to the white community. Shout out to my white friends. But just, the bottom line is this is a pro-black movement that we need to bring ourselves together on. We need to identify that there are opportunities to work with our people who understand the infrastructure of law and of business. Listen to what Chanel and Kim are both saying, you guys. They said, look, instead of you trying to do all your accounting yourself, instead of you trying to manage your money yourself, you need to have an accountant. You need to have a CPA. They got this thing with the HR blocks and you go in real quick and you get your check and then you're done. You need to know what those people are saying on your tax return. You need to learn the write-offs that you can benefit to get more money on your tax return. If that means you pay somebody, then pay them, doggone it. Stop being so freaking cheap. Stop being cheap when it comes to managing your wealth and your future. Sit down with a money manager. Sit down and figure out ways to build wealth. I told you, go to richdad.com and play that game. Learn how to play the money management game, because when you play that game, you learn there's two circles. One, you're in a rat race. You pay your bills. You go to work. You take care of your kids. Life happens. And then the second circle is showing you ways to get out of that rat race. Start buying property. Start going over out of state. You don't have to be in California. If you're in California, I'm looking at property in Texas. Chanel will tell you she's in Mississippi. We all got different places that we look for opportunities when we know that we are in states that are saturated. Listen to me and follow my words, that are saturated with the idea that we can't buy and afford nothing. There's always opportunities that you guys are not pressing forward. Let me read these bullet points to you. 91% of Black owned businesses have no employees outside of the owner. No employees. And now that's a little bit of a problem because, see, the problem is that we're not going outside and building more of our own people in. We say we're a business owner, but we're not thinking in the aspect of a larger LLCs and S corporations. Because it's interesting because the next bullet point says 73.2 of business owners register as sole proprietorship. One of the worst things that you can do, I've been told, is to register as a sole proprietorship, because if your business goes under, they're going to sue you. They're going to sue you. If something happens with your business, there's a sole proprietor, they're going to sue you. If you go under a name of a company, and put it on the LLC or S corporations, if that company fails, then you can bankrupt the company, but they can't personally attack you. They have to bankrupt, or they can sue the company, but not you. So sole proprietorship is never what I would ever recommend to anyone. My accountants tell me that, and my attorneys as well. Three more bullet points. Black owned businesses only account for less than 0.1% of all business revenues in America. Now that's really sad. They have got us so broken, so disgruntled, so marginalized by allowing the immigrants and the chain migration. See, chain migration, many of you guys don't understand what that means. That means the immigrants come here and they bring their cousin, and they bring their uncle, and they bring their grandmother, and then they bring their Uncle Jojo, and he opens up the same businesses in your community. So instead of one immigrant, you end up getting five immigrants with the same family. Which pushes the Black communities down, and which pushes us out of the game of opportunity. So now we're at a percentage that is not even recognizable. 0.4% of Black businesses became general. So we don't have any bigger business in that perspective. And then the last bullet point I want to bring out is it says 74% of all Black owned businesses feel that they need to pander to white owners to get their business and their marketing out there. Look, you don't have to pander to anyone. You need to communicate with people who are in business. I've got three business women that are on this chat room with you right now. Myself, Chanel, and Kim have ran businesses. We know how to build an infrastructure of opportunities. And when people say, well, we're Black, we can't do it, you leverage just being an American. You could be living in one of them African huts. We talking about Africa. You could be in one of them African huts, drinking with diners that water. He said the wine that he likes. I ain't trying to talk about your diners. I saw that video. I love you, bro. But I mean, I'm just not a hut girl. I wasn't raised in a hut. I ain't going back to hut. I'm a DOS child. I'm a child of a descendant of the indigenous slave tribe. And I'm praise God that somebody got on a ship and made it this far, and have me be here today. But I will tell you the good part. Creating 1 million jobs this year. Okay. Black people have $187.6 billion. And that's an average of about 7,000 every year. Jobs and businesses being grown in America. Then compared to other businesses like the Hispanics at 14,000, and the Asian has 67,000 every year. Now, see, the Asian community is what I think we need to pay attention to, because that portion is really a large, that is us. Because if you guys were to get 40 acres in a mule, your asses would go right to that hair shop and give it to the Koreans. You give it to them damn Koreans, yes you would. So what good is to get 40 acres in a mule when you don't even know how to build the infrastructure from buying within yourself? I've showed you illegal immigrants buying on the street from each other. They don't buy from the stores, they go buy from each other. And then they keep the money within themselves. And then the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church works as the Underground Railroad against American people and helping migrate more of those people into this country. I'm telling you, it's a crazy thing, but the power of business ownership gives us an opportunity to be just like them, where they have one immigrant and they make it five. We can do the same thing with African Americans. We can have one African American who opens one hair shop, and by working with this wonderful opportunity that Urban Black Institute offers. It's great. Now, if you want to know more about demographics and black numbers, go to blackdemographics.com. So someone could type that in the chat room, blackdemographics.com, and that will give you a perspective of blacks and what we're doing as far as demographically in our numbers that shift and go up and down per year. We used to be able to look through that through Black Enterprise and a lot of these black newspapers, but many of you guys don't realize like the grits and the roots and they're not owned by black people. I'm sorry, they're not owned by black people. So they're not going to show you to that successful platform of a margin because then you're competing against them. The roots are owned by Latino, by Univision. So there you go. So you listen and you see them use black people and black stories and black videographers. That paper is not owned by black folks. You guys got to thoroughly go down to the ground and check it out. Kim, what do you think about that?
I think the Urban Black Institute that's a phenomenal opportunity. When you were talking about Univision, I couldn't help but remember how they were running commercials, telling them how to come here and get on welfare. So Univision is not our friend in terms of having people come here and take from people who are paying into the system through taxes. I don't appreciate illegals getting tax dollars. I just don't. I like all of the points that you made. I'm happy that we are partnering with this group, and I'm optimistic because the mentorship is really important to me because as a business owner, you come into so many different things, and if you have somebody that you can call and say, well, hey, this is my problem. Have you experienced that? And they can give you a solution or at least point you in the right direction. That helps a lot because a lot of times, the businesses, they say if you can make it past a couple of years, and your business probably will be okay. So the first few years are the hardest. So that's great. That's why I asked that question. Were they just going to kind of leave you and move on, or were they going to support you? Because the support is important, and we need. I don't know if there is one, but if there is, we need to promote it. If there isn't, just how they have the Chamber of Commerce, we need a Black Chamber of Commerce for Black businesses. We need to kind of get together and unite. I think that would be a very good idea. And if there is a Black Chamber of Commerce, then we need to promote it because I haven't heard of it. So we need to really promote it, to, specifically for Black-owned businesses. I'm not saying don't do business with the white or whatever nationality the Chamber of Commerce is in your community, but there needs to be something specifically for Black-owned businesses because the Black experience in America is just different. It's not.
No, it is different, but this is why I'm different with you because many of you guys know I totally support Phil on the advice show, and some of you guys have seen that viral where that Asian man walked up to that black woman and socked her in the mouth outside the beauty salon. This Korean business owner a couple of days ago walked up and socked her in the mouth, and people thought she wanted to swing on him. Well, Phil had the full show. If you guys go there, please go to Business Owner, go to Phil the Advice Show and watch that video on YouTube. And this is the short version of that story. The lady said, "Look, my son was acting up in the store. He had grabbed something. I threw it at, put it back, threw it kind of abruptly down. And I walked up, and the Asian owner came out and said, 'What are you doing in my store, throwing stuff?' She said, 'I wasn't throwing stuff. I was correcting my son.' And she says, 'I don't want to talk to you.' And she put her hand up, like stop. And he grabbed her hand. She said he threw her around and socked her in the mouth. And many of the blacks in the community were outraged. So many black brothers came afterwards and they were protesting in front of the store. In the meantime, the same Asian owner said, 'Oh, I saw it for shocking lady. I'm going to give 50% off all day.' So then now you had a line full of black people who knew what this man did to this woman, stood outside of this Asian store and said, 'Well, I want to get in there and buy everything at 50% off. I need to get some hair. I need some creams. I need some lotions, and I'm going to get it off at 50%. Now, you saw this man disrespect one of your own people. You saw this man store who sits outside where you could have black people buy from. He disrespected the community. He disrespected this woman. He socked the woman in front of her son, and it was uncalled for. And then you had black men who stepped up to the plate and was protesting. And then a ratchet black girl went over in the video who got out of line saying, "Why are you out here protesting? We want our stuff at half price. We don't need you in the community." Whoa, 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 whoa. See, that's the problem I got with you Negroes. That's the problem I got with you Negroes. Folks in the community, we trying to be good people. You got three women online trying to tell you how to start a business. You got three women online telling you you need an infrastructure, a layout so that you can make greater wealth. But instead, you guys pander to illegals and you pander to immigrants, especially the Korean community that take a lot of money from us. Billions and billions of dollars are made off of us. As a matter of fact, they have newspapers and magazines. They use our face and they put it all in Korean so we can't read what they're doing to connect and to develop their business. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stand my ground and say it's time that we walk away from the Korean stores. We walk away from these Korean stores, and we need to start knowing where those black stores are. Excuse me. Now, listen, I've already contacted the institute. Excuse me, and I've told them I want to get a list of all the black-owned hair businesses. I'm gonna let you guys know that when I do, I want us to start supporting black-owned businesses more and more. And if they don't provide good service, then I can understand. You said, "Sure, I gave them a shot," because some of them they all kind of questionable. But I think that if we can at least support that, then we can build African Americans. You remember we started off talking about Africans, but for some reason we're so pivot on what they're doing in their land and their opportunity. If they cared about us, we've been here 400 years plus. Okay. We're going to be celebrating 1619 represents 400 of the American side, not the British side of them landing here and making us commodity with the first 20 black people who landed in Virginia. The war Dutchman brought 20 black Africans who are now the people who are American African Americans who know that who are descendants of slavery. We need to do something about that. We need to identify what we have and utilize that because if we take our energy, we focus there, and we've got problems here. See how we're dealing with this? We're not even talking about that. We're not talking about the farmers. 3,500 farmers were sold bad seeds. They trying to take our land. What are we gonna do when we lose the land? What do we do if we lose our land? Y'all listen to me. I need to see more likes in that chat room. You guys are not liking and share. Please like and share. I think we got 38, we got 43 people watching. I really want you to put that like button up, and I appreciate that. I want to say a shout out to Always Ready. Thank you so much for the donation. He says, "Keep up the good work, sister. You helping sister out here and keep out being cheap. Send a super chat money." He said, "Stop being so cheap." You know, I'm grateful for the people who do give the $1.99. But if you can give $10 to $20, it's so much better. It really makes a world of difference. And I also want to say another great shout out to another wonderful person, Mike, who gave $19.99. Thank you so much, Mike. Those super chats are really amazing. As you know, I don't get that YouTube money until I get a certain number, and I'm not there yet. But I'm grateful. The more money I get, the more eventually we'll get up there. And once we reach that money and we'll get that, I think it's like a $300 or $100 check that I'm very grateful, and I'll definitely be letting you guys know when that is acquired. But Kim, what do you think about all that? I mean, here we have black. I know. No, let me go to Chanel because Kim, we heard you last. Chanel, what do you feel about this Asian man socking this woman in her mouth? And then he says he apologized. He also said that he's gonna give the store 50% off. And then Phil, one more thing, he had another story, y'all, where black women went into the nail shop and the Asian lady got mad and she threw acetone on the black people. And they went back the next day because they gave it at 50% off. I mean, how much abuse, mental abuse, are we going to take upon in our community before we just finally say, okay, enough is enough? That's what I want to know.
First of all, he should have been arrested. That's assault. First of all, if he was black and he would have did that to one of them, he would have been arrested. Forget the 50%, number one. And that's when blacks need to speak up and step it out and follow protocol. The 50% could come later when the store is closing down. It will probably be 75 cents because blacks should have got together and worked to have that store closed. First of all, they have him arrested and then to close the store down, especially if it's in a black community. That's how you do it.
That's true. That's very, very true. But see, the problem is when he offered that 50%, they were like, well, he's giving us a discount, so we want to continue to pander towards that. Kim, what do you think about that?
I agree with everything that she said. But, again, selling our soul for 30 pieces of silver, like she said, he should have been arrested. They should have, and 50% wasn't really enough because he was still making a profit at 50%. So really, it should have been more like 670, 75% or whatever. But to be honest with you, with that kind of attitude, he needed to be shut down. And I don't know why we don't. We just don't stick together. I know in New York, there was a boycott that was started, and then the boycott was broken up. They were saying, "Oh, you can't protest, you can't protest," and because it was a chosen group, and I think it's something like this, and also with the acetone, that should have been wake up calls. That should have been a wake up call for the community to say enough is enough. A boycotts work. Boycotts work because when people lose their livelihood or they lose their store or whatever, not to say that another store wouldn't come back in that same place, owned by another one of their, partners, but that store should have been shut down. That was unacceptable. That was assault. And it was assault to throw that acetone too. In fact, that was a dangerous chemical, so that may have actually been a felony. But I mean, it's just too much. It's too much. I mean, we have to wake up and stop allowing people to mistreat us. And then when we are mistreated, we need to stick together. And I'm not saying that. We don't even have. Where were the community leaders on that? To organize it. Okay, like you said, the people stepped up and said, okay, we're going to protest, we're going to picket, and then people sold out for the 50% off. And he knew, see, they study us, like you said about that paper, when they have our pictures, but we don't understand. They study us. They know our behaviors. They know our attitudes. They know that, we tend to be motivated by money. So the 50% was enough to, but if people would have held out and said, we're not going to buy your stuff even at 50%, he might have said, okay, well, 60%. No, we ain't buying it. 70%. No, we ain't buying it. And then it's like, we're not buying anything from you. You have to go. But until people, but it's a sacrifice. In order to protest, you got to be willing to sacrifice something. And we haven't gotten to the point where we want to sacrifice. And speaking of, the country, foreign countries, not necessarily Africa in particular, but when you ask people here, what are you willing to die for? Because some of these people are so radical, they're willing to die for the cause. So when are we going to wake up and be willing to, to lay down our life if possible, if necessary, I shouldn't say possible, but if necessary for a cause, because we just, I don't know. I don't know why we've been conditioned to take it, but we haven't, and that needs to stop. We have to wake up. We really have to wake up. And we need some serious leaders that are really going to support the community. And it's not just the Congressional Black Caucus. I blame the NAACP and the Urban League too. Throw them right up in there too. Because they say that they're for us, but they're really not. Because
including the ACLU, I have to throw them in there too because they, there's no profit in the cure. So by having us poor and impoverished and oppressed, they can do lawsuits and just keep us not moving forward. We're not moving forward. And because we're not moving forward, we're moving backwards and we're moving into a phase of annihilation. I mean, Planned Parenthood had that in place, and we see that with Lyndon B. Johnson and what he did. Um, I thank God for you women. Let me tell you why. I know you both personally. I know that you really care about the Black community. That both of you have created proposals and ideas, and as well as myself. And we throw them against the wall, and some of them stick, some of them, most of them don't. But I think with this administration, if we could start to work as a united front and not be this isolated agenda, but that we can work as a united front. I believe that we can do better. And that's why I thank God for you guys on YouTube. I thank you for following me. I thank you for sharing my videos and liking and following Dinus and shout out to T West. T West is amazing. And even if I have my differences with Yvette Cornell and when it comes to capitalism, I praise God for her and even Cynthia G. These are people who are having us talk about our communities, our differences, our agreements, the whole thing about prison reform, the emasculated Black man. Liberals, progressives don't want us talking about that. They want us to be oppressed. They want to see the Black woman, the queen, the God, whatever that is about. But what about the Black man? What about the Black man? Why are we so pro woman and anti Black man? We can't be that way. We need leadership. We need empowerment. It's too much on a woman to take on the masculine characters of a man because he has no man in the house. That's not fair to that woman. You don't know what that woman acts like. She's tough, but at home she's in the bed crying because she's got a lot of pressure on her. She's got a lot of pressure on her. Or them sisters, I don't understand. You sisters have babies by men who want to spend time with their child, but you're evil because you won't let that child have their father. You use that child as collateral or commodity to get a check, or you use that child as a pawn to make him suffer. What kind of woman are you that you would do that to your man? What kind of woman would you that you won't even allow your child to have their father in the future makes that child dysfunctional? You're a terrible woman. You're a terrible mother if you do that. Please, I would say to
I
young sisters and young mothers, stop playing these rhetoric games with these black men and let them have the time they need allotted to their children and grow up and be the bigger person in the conversation and let that pain go. I don't care what that man did to you. You don't need to make that child your pawn. One of you guys wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say I agree with you 100%. The black male is the foundation of the black family, and people need to wake up and realize that. When they came up with that three strike law, that took away the foundation of the black family, and we began to fall. And like I say, every 30 years they come up with tricks, immigration tricks. They come up with other tricks to attack the black community, and so far it needs to be working. People need to wake up. If you snatch the foundation from up under something, it's going to fall. And we need to stand together, and we need to address these issues, and we need to stand behind the black men. We need to also hold them accountable for their part too. And I think a lot of it starts with the black mothers. When you have black males out there, I had a black male. I had my three daughters, and I had a black male, and I made sure as a black male, number one, I geared him towards his education, and number two, I raised him with structure. I didn't want him ripping around the streets, spreading babies all over the place. I wasn't gonna have it. So, we did grow up in a two-parent household too, which made a difference. But as mothers, we had to, put forth our best to raise our black males in the correct manner.
That's
And
correct.
I really think it starts at home. It really does.
I agree with that.
It does,
Kim, what do you got to say on that
it
one?
does, it does start at home. And not only, first of all, you need some expectations and some high expectations. And you also need some consequences for your actions. And if we're not teaching our kids about expectations and consequences, we failed them. A divided house is going to fall every single solitary time. They divided us through welfare, kicking the black man out, the prison system, three strikes. I mean, they find, ways to keep us divided and keep us down. And we allow it because we don't stand up and we don't speak out. And then we put people in charge, of these organizations that don't care about us. They just care about lining their own pockets. People like the NAACP, the Urban League, because if they cared about us, they wouldn't be aligned with the Democratic Party. They wouldn't be part of the resist. We finally have an administration that wants to do something, a pro-business administration, and people are running around here talking about resist, 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 impeach, resist, impeach. No, it's just ridiculous. So you resist and you impeach what you have, because who's going to work with you if you bring in a resistant attitude? Nobody's going to work with you. There's going to come a time when, it's like, well, you know what? They don't want to. I'm going to move on and find a community that wants to work with me, because that's just human nature. Nobody wants to be rejected and abused over and over again. I mean, unless you just, glutton for punishment. But a divided house falls every single time, and we are divided. And they divide us. Deliberately, they divide us. But if we don't give our kids expectations and high wants, because mediocrity is not an option in my household. And I have three sons and one daughter. Mediocrity has never been an option in our household. There's high expectations and consequences if you don't do what you need to do. And we need to start teaching our kids that instead of babying them and letting people fill their heads up with foolishness, because they tell our kids to chase professional sports, and that's 1% of the 1%. So
Yes,
these kids need to be educated. They need to be educated,
Educated. That's
educated,
true.
and we're selling our kids pipe dreams, and that's unacceptable. It
But
is so
and
unacceptable.
you know what? I'm gonna tie in with something else. One of you guys said earlier, trades. I mean, you can get a 6-month trade job in tech and then be making six digits. 6 months
That was me.
trade job,
That
and,
was me.
you don't need to. I mean, you said plumbing. Chanel talks about accounting. Chanel talks about going into communities and learning what the people need, and like Kim had mentioned earlier, these are things that you guys can understand, that the trades are important because everybody will always need that. You'll always need those people.
That's right. Plumbers, electricians,
Electricians.
mechanics. I mean, you let something go wrong. Let your heat go out in the winter time, or let your air conditioning go out in the summertime. You will pay the king's ransom to get that stuff on, especially if it's 90 degrees and HVAC, plumbing, electrical, auto mechanic, engineering as a whole. If you're going to go to school, but I mean, there's so many different carpentry because who's going to build these houses if you're not teaching people how to be carpenters
That's true.
and roofers. You got to put the roof on. We need people to lay the carpet. We need people to lay the tile. I mean, so that's masonry. So I mean, what happens if we don't teach a new generation to do these skills?
Right.
You know,
And I think, look, if we're going, go ahead, Chanel.
You mentioned school. Parents out there, especially black parents, need to realize they start on your kids. I work for a school district. I've been in the education system off and on like 20 years. They start on black children while they're in school. Okay? They start a record for your child while they are attending school. And parents need to realize that. You need to be there to represent your child. I remember I had a discrepancy by me working for a school district, and I moved out of a county to another county. But I had experience, and California is California no matter what county you go to. And because of my experience, I knew how to fight back. And I remember it was an incident with my son, and long story short, right quick, I told them, let me tell you one thing. You start a record for my son, I'm going to start a record for you. And trust me, they backed off because they knew where I was coming from. I was not going to allow them to start a record. It doesn't start when they're out of school. They start when your kid is in school, walking down the street with a group of other black children. That's when it starts, and black parents need to be aware of that. It starts in the classroom. I had to go sit in the classroom and monitor. I told them I'm there, to support my son, but no, I was there monitoring those teachers, the way he was being treated, because we had moved to Riverside, predominantly all white. So black parents need to be aware of what's going on. It starts at the school level, not after they graduate from high school. And you ladies mentioned something about the trade. Well, if the kids are attacked in school, they never have a chance to go to school and learn a trade because they're attacked in school. And black parents need to wake up and realize that and come up with a formula.
Look, go ahead. Real quick. We talk about privatized prisons. They use black people as commodity. So they need to figure out which child has the most rambunctious, a bad attitude and personality, so they can get ready to incarcerate that child. Come on now, come on.
Yes, they send them to the alternative schools. I'm telling you, it starts in the grade school, and black parents need to be aware of that. They start a record for your child while they're attending school, and blacks need to wake up.
I've been an educational advocate for 33 years. I can tell you right now, they use the third grade reading scores to plan the prisons. It is third grade. The third grade reading scores plan the prisons.
Say that again. Say that one more time. Go ahead.
The third grade reading scores are what they use to plan the prisons. That is what they use.
Wow.
So the teachers union needs to be broken because they don't care about our kids.
Too. Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. They don't care about our kids. No. You follow them again. Follow the money. Follow the money. Yeah. You will see just how much money is in this teachers union. The statistics are not going to lie. This is what they do. This is what they use. Parents don't even show up. I hear in Western Pennsylvania, they had wanted to make it so that the kids couldn't play sports if they didn't have a C average. The parents were out in the street for that. They took it to the street. So then they turned around and said, well, instead of just, counting the core subjects, they went with calendar specials, gym and art and all of that, music, to go into the average. Now, this is because they didn't want the kids, again, that pipe dream about, going to the pros, so they were like, okay, now why shouldn't your child have to have a C average? C is passing, you know, in your core subjects. But the parents took it to the streets. But you have a regular school board meeting or you have an open house, you see how many parents come, and it's the same ones you see every single solitary time. So parents need to not only take an active but a proactive role too.
And let me
You
say
know,
this, and I want to add to not only proactive role, don't go by yourself because sometimes they set you up. They know we act
well,
emotionally and they can call you a black woman, an evil black woman. Or we had to call the police because she was out of control. They make up these
right,
lies, and then you have nobody to testify who can witness in your behalf other than your child who's a minor. So please, if you go to public school or school board meetings, don't go by yourself. Don't go by yourself. Take somebody with you because these people are using our children and setting them up for commodity to keep us enslaved. This is just another form of slavery. And I don't know if you guys know this, but out there in the chat room, that when you become incarcerated, you revert back to a slave. You're no longer a citizen in America. You are a slave again. Uh, again, these are things, and we go back to congress.gov that we need to petition to make it a new law that if a person does go back to jail, that they don't revert back to slavery. And then they have you working for cheap labor from major corporations, and those people work in prison jobs. They work jobs, and they hire prisons to do cheap labor. And your child is being predated, and you guys are not paying attention to that. I want to say a couple of things to shout out to people online. Always ready. Thank you so much for your support in the chat, super chat. You're right. Those numbers, the more we get, the more opportunities we'll be able to reach our goal. One of the things that you said, which is true, ladies, they said Salesforce certifications will be given and pay nicely. People need to get certifications. I know Google has a certification. I know that Hootsuite. These are tech things. I mean, you don't have to be out of high school. You can get your junior high child. You can get your 10-year-old, 12-year-old child certified right now. You could go through a certification course with your child. While you get certified, get your teenage child certified. It doesn't say it's an age requirement, it's just an execution requirement. Go on there and get certified. The more certifications you have, by the time you graduated from high school and they start looking at colleges, they can say, well, I'm all certified in this already. And you haven't even left high school. Do you know how that puts you so much ahead of a game than other people? Technology is the way to take a culture of people to the next level. Black people need to identify that. Don't be stuck in the stupid. Don't be stuck in government post products. Don't look to SBA loans. Well, we need to get a small business loan. There's other opportunities of, like I told you, the Business Institute. There's OPM, which is other people's money, family members. Find ways to do your stuff free. You got all these free social media platforms. Build whatever you have to offer. If you sell cookies and brownies, they got these free websites that you can set up, and then you go and set them up on your social media platform and make free brownies on Tuesday.com. Every Tuesday, you give a free brownie away to so many people. You can do a lot of things to build a business way easier. And I'm sure these ladies can testify than when we were younger, than what you can do today. It doesn't make any sense that you're not utilizing it. We got about 5 more minutes, ladies, and we're going to end this chat. I thank you guys for staying so long. I know this has been a longer show than I normally do, but I think this is so important because I hear so much in the conscious community talk about Africa and what Africa offers and what it contains. And I wanted to be proactive and show you businesses and organizations. Shout out to Urban Back Institute. Shout out to Black Demographics. Shout out to onlymoveforward.com. Ladies, I've been posting onlymoveforward.com. That is an organization that simply offers deeper insight into African American communities through its portfolio of online resources. So make sure you go to onlymoveforward.com. Its direction is everything. And it talks about the portfolio of where we are as Black people when it comes to capitalism. And it talks about optimism and opportunities of communities realizing their options that are out there. If we don't, we learn. If we don't know, we don't grow. If we don't know, we don't grow. So I think that's the problem with a lot of these black chat rooms. They all talk about Africa. They can't wait to go there and be welcomed and embrace their culture. But you don't even know who you are. You don't even know the power that you have and the rights that you have. But I tell you who does know that is those illegal immigrants. Those illegal immigrants are predating after the civil rights. They're predating after the black communities. Chanel and I will testify that. They come into our communities trying to force black people out of their homes. They done took over all the black businesses. The Jewish people gave them buildings and they bought up the buildings. We don't even own our buildings anymore. I mean, we are on a verge of being annihilated. We have a problem, my people. We have a problem. And we're distracted by focusing on Africa, and we're distracted by not taking care of home first. Take care of home first. Sit down with your children. Watch this video and share it and break it down into parts. We talked about certifications, we talked about schools, we talked about different trade opportunities, the Business Institute, and Urban Game Changers, where we go into the urban communities and we hold elected officials accountable as well as ourselves. We have Urban Game Changers executive leaders are talking to you right now, telling you that we want you to be more engaged in accountability. With Congress.gov, you need to learn the HR bills that are on the table that pertain to the black community. You need to learn about the grants that are being offered, that are monies that are allocated, that the ACLU and the Congressional Black Caucus, they all get some kind of money from the feds, and yet they are not giving it back to us. They're expanding the platform of illegals. And you and I are allowing that. And so no more do we want that to happen. And no more do we want to pander to illegal or immigrant beauty salons that disrespect us as people. We need to have more of us who, when we see things like that, address it. When we see bad seeds being stole to older black gentlemen who have owned this country and this land, those are children of the indigenous slave tribe landowners who sell food to America, have been sold bad seeds because they're trying to destroy black people. That is what we need to put before the president. Now, I grant you, Kenya got an opportunity to speak regarding trade. We need to have trade within America to black people first. That's all we're saying here. We are 100% American black first, okay? African American first. That's what should come first in our agenda. All this other stuff is great, but if you can't fix home first, how are you going to help somebody else? How are you going to help somebody else when you can't even fix the house and the country and the community that you reside and work in first? Because if you can't fix that first, you fail yourself. Envy, I thank you so much. You asked a lot of questions. I'm sorry I couldn't answer everyone's question. I love you. I love you so much. Just like, thank you so much for your questions. Always thank you again. Chris stayed in here this whole time. Oh my God. God bless you, Chris. Susie is online. Justice on the line. Doug. Oh, I love my Dougie. He's such a sweetheart. I mean, all you guys who have come in, Moses, and supported me and shared this video and put those likes up there. Thank you so much. Come back when I go live. I'll try to be more consistent. Maybe I'll do Sundays more regularly. I don't want to compete too much with O'Shea because O'Shea's show is so phenomenal. But I do believe that there's issues that are needed to be addressed. I wanted you to hear a woman's perspective. I wanted you to hear women who are talking about how if they were asked to go back to Africa with their man, how we would be treated. Because I hear these men all on O'Shea's show and Phil's show and Dinah's show and I love my T West, all you black brothers who want to support Africa. We're not anti-Africa. Let's make this clear. But we need to understand there is some cultural differences in between all of us. And that's a problem. Ladies, last word. I'll start off with Kim. Kim, tell them how they can reach you. You are Urban Game Changers Pennsylvania. They can find her on Facebook. Please join Urban Game Changers Pennsylvania and follow her page. You will see her there. You can find Kim Mack, MACK on Kimberly Mack on Facebook. Kim, and how can they reach you and what you're running for office? How can they get you?
Kim Mack for Congress on Facebook as well. I just have, I'm not anti-Africa, but I am pro-America. I want to know, and I'm going to just throw it out there, who came up with this idea? Who's the originator of this Back to Africa movement? I want to know. Because my mind is like, who is funding this? Who's promoting this? Why now? I mean, Marcus Garvey did it, back in the 60s and 70s, but who is the originator behind this? And it's not a criticism. I'm just curious to know who is the originator about it. I just thank you for the opportunity to, have this discussion. I think it was a very important discussion. Africa is great, but I'm pro-America. I'm sorry. I'm pro-America. America first, and certainly Black America first. So, Black America first before Africa. Africa can be second, but Black America has to be first.
Absolutely. And Chanel, how can they reach you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm working on a website, but right now I'm not completed with it. So I'm on Facebook under Chanel Temple.
Okay.
You can contact me on Facebook. Yes.
So you guys go to Chanel Temple on Facebook, and if you, it might be other Chanels out there. Just go to my Facebook and then go to my friends, and then you can find Chanel that way too. She's a phenomenal person. She's engaging. She understands the plight of what's going on in this country. And you know what, Kim, you asked a very legitimate question. Why now? Why, when you have this president who wants to work with us, that we are distracting our energy towards this whole African movement? The timing of this is kind of questionable, where we're go ahead.
Not only that, we went from being Black Americans to African American. Well, so this, I mean, I believe it's a plot. I'm telling you, there's something sinister with Black Americans, and now all of a sudden we African Americans, and now it's just back to African movement. And like I said, Marcus Garvey was doing it before, but why now? Why now? Now you have a president who wants to work with the Black community. He wants to work with urban America, and you're telling people to leave the country and go back to Africa. Why? I would say 9 out of 10, 90%, that there's some white people, some evil white people behind this plan. The plan to deceive, into some, Black conscious people. And it's not a criticism, but I just say follow the money, because this just didn't come out. And why now? Why now? I mean, the movement was before it died down. People are like, no, I don't want to go to Africa. If Africa was so great, Kenya wouldn't have sent its president over here to try to make some deals. So you want us to go back there and they trying to make deals? I don't think so. It's not making sense to me. And when it doesn't make sense, there's usually a lie involved. Some kind of way, there's some kind of deception going on. Follow the money. That's all I'm saying. And the divided house falls all the time, so we got to be united, Black America. We have to unite. And we have to drown out those voices that say they're for us and they're not. I'm talking about the NAACP, the Urban League. They need to go. I mean, or you know what? They can stay, but they just need to be rendered ineffective, officially ineffective. We know that they're ineffective, but we need to really, really, really until they make some changes. And throw the Congressional Black Caucus in there too, because they're useless. Like you said, it should have been about Black people, but now it's about every people. And we allowed every single solitary cause to hit yourself to our wagon. Immigration, gay rights, everything. It's no. It's not. It's not. Those are different issues, but those are not our issues. And they're promoting our issues. And if somebody needs to look, you can look on if you Google Maxine Waters, she was talking to Roland Martin, I believe, and she was saying about how this is right in, I want to say early 2012, Obama had just been reelected, and she was talking about how the plan in the Democratic community, Black people will come around, because Black people are really not for immigration, and they're really not for gay rights, but they'll come along. We'll just keep, beating them down. They'll come along. So this is a sinister plot from our own representatives, to betray us. I mean, like I said, I'm not homophobic, and I'm not xenophobic either, but this has to be America first. I'm sorry. It just has to be. But I thank you for the opportunity, Shirley. Thank you so very much.
Well, I appreciate it. I know Chanel's got one more word. Chanel, you want to say something, or you're good?
I just want to piggyback off of, she was saying, and I agree with her again 100%. There's something sinister behind it. Like I said, a couple years ago, I heard about a plan where they're trying to group all the Blacks together and send them down south, and then from there, I guess, to Africa. But again, you need to keep in mind, like in California, Blacks have been replaced by illegals. And I feel that they're trying to do the same thing. They want us to go to Africa, so they want the white people, the farmers from Africa, to come over here. They want to replace us with other people. And people need to wake up and start thinking about that and realize what's going on. They already did it in California, LA County, other counties. They have already, hundreds of thousands of blacks have been kicked off their jobs and replaced with illegal aliens. They already doing it. So why not? All the ones that they're not killing or wiping out, send them back to Africa. But it is, they're purging, just like the movie. Everybody in the sound of my voice needs to look at that new movie, the new, what's the name of it? The First Purge. That's the name of it.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the First Purge movie that came out, because there's three of them.
Right.
The name of this movie is The First
Purge.
Purge. And it specifically demonstrates what's going on in the black community and who's doing it. They are wiping us out, exterminating us any way they can. People need to wake up. And as soon as they finish with the black community, they're going to start on other nationalities. So if we don't stand together as American citizens, this country is gone. So people sit back, oh, the blacks, don't say nothing. They're doing it to the black. They're not going to mess with us. Yes, they are. They're coming for you. So you can sit back there and pretend like you don't know what's going on if you want to.
That's true.
Because you're going to be next if you don't stand up now.
That's
People
true.
need to stand up and fight back.
That's true. And that's why we have these conversations. And that's why Urban Game Changers has come out. We hold elected officials accountable as well as ourselves. We talk about elected officials. We know they're corrupt. We know the black community has a lot of corruption. But, we have to believe in the non existence. I'm going to leave you with this note. I was watching a sci-fi movie talking about animation and how King Kong, Godzilla, the earlier motion pictures of how they got animation to move, and then technology came in and it became more real and real and realistic. And I'm sure there were times where the animator said, this will never ever look seamless. But someone believed in the non existence. So I want to say to all of you who have supported me and supported these women that you're hearing talk right now, I want you to believe in the non existence. Believe that we as Black people can have our own self proprietorship like we used to. Believe that we can have a Black coalition where the federal government will allow us to stand alone in our own preference. We can have a Black foundation. We can start thinking and communicating with each other without offending someone or not having to feel to speak in an inclusive manner. When the Jews speak of their culture, they don't speak of an inclusive manner of Blacks or Asians. When the Asians speak of their people, they don't speak of the inclusiveness, and especially the illegal immigrants, not Mexican Americans. We've got good Mexican American people. That's a whole different culture of people than the illegals who have come here and have invaded our communities and have saturated due to bad policies and liberal progressives. Look, believe in the non-existence, because if you do, if you can have that much of an inch of faith to know that there's people like me and others who are out here trying to spread this word, it will make a difference. Your financial contribution for us to be able to get gas, to go to fly on these trips, we don't get paid for this. We don't get paid to fight and have our voice, but we feel the pain. And that you should know that when you see me or Chanel or Kim, you should feel that those people represent you. We represent you. We understand where you're coming from. And we want to ask you to continue to support the conscious community online, the activists on the street, and the ones that are really preparing proposals and plans of actions to make difference. Make sure that you go to urbangamechangers.com, blackdemographics.com, the blackurbaninstitute.com, onlymoveforward.com. And the last one I'm going to go back to is please go and sign up and join congress.gov. Learn about the HR bills. The HR bills are the federal bills that talk about grants and acknowledgement of issues going on right now that they're trying to get more and more money that Congress vote on every day. That's their job, is to go over proposals. You understand that you need to learn this because they're taking your tax dollars and you have the right to support or oppose it. And if there's some type of bill that you see that is working against us, especially immigration, I need eyes to be on the ground and online. So I would ask you to, if you can take the time to learn that website, congress.gov, if someone wants to type that in, make sure that you learn that website and then learn what the bills that are on the table regarding immigrants and black communities. And specifically, you can type in certain words to start learning the bills that they have out there that could be devastating to our community that we don't know. And then when they pass, we deal with the repercussions. Because, see, for every action is a reaction, for every non action is the aftermath. We're living the aftermath of Lyndon B. Johnson. We're living the aftermath of immigrants and illegals being given more rights and privileges because of Reagan, him voting them, giving them special opportunities of visas and coming here under work visas. All these things are detrimental and they come to us first. They come to our community first. So please keep talking to each other, keep watching this show, and I thank you for your time. Thank you, ladies, so much. I love you.
Okay.
And we will talk, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Good night, and thank you for watching.
Right. Good night. Love you.
Bye bye.
Good night.
Good night. Yes.